Hey everybody, Matt Doyon coming to you from Triple Session HQ in Boston. And today you can see I'm rocking my Build.org hat. If you don't know Build.org, it's a fantastic nonprofit we do some work with. And essentially, they go into under resourced communities, mostly working with high schools, and help the kids there learn entrepreneurship and entrepreneurship skills. It's a fantastic program. And one of the learnings that I've gotten from working with this program, first, there's a lot of optimism we should all have about the future because the next generation coming up, they're going to be okay. The kids are okay based on what I've seen coming out of the schools that I've worked with. But one of the key highlights there, and there's a lot of overlap with the careers that we have in sales, is with these kids, they are proactive, they jump in, they're coachable, they're hardworking, they're accountable. These are the organic characteristics that we all look for when hiring salespeople. And I've gotten to see that firsthand in working with Bill.org. And it reminded me a lot of how we set up sales organizations in general and what we hire for. And there's always this balance that we're going back and forth with to support our reps, coach our reps, train our reps, but also not be micromanagers and really not put reps under our thumb and put them under the microscope and really use coaching as a weapon and make people negatively uncomfortable. There should be discomfort when people miss their numbers, if they're not living up to their expectations. There should be a positive discomfort there. But the negative micromanagement discomfort is where a lot of sales leadership can go awry. So there are a few pieces here that we've worked with. And over my 8 years of scaling the revenue team at a company called Rock Content, where we went from just having a 5-person sales team up to 120 people across the entire revenue org, I learned a few things there along the way, made plenty of mistakes. But one of them that came out of it was using data and transparency and expectation setting as an advantage to build all of the accountability and coachability and best practices and habits you want to see in your team while not being a micromanager. So we have all of this data in sales organizations today, and the trick there is to not use data to hit people over the head with it, but really use data to empower them. So, what do I mean by that? First, it comes down to expectation setting and really bringing great people into the organization when you're hiring, but also in those early stage conversations when you're first bringing them in, empower them to run their own businesses. Let them know right from coaching meeting number one, this is how we run the organization. We expect you to run your own shop, manage your own data, understand your own productivity, effectively micromanage yourself. I'm not going to babysit you. I'm not here to watch everything like a hawk and hit you over the head with it when things fall off. I expect you to watch yourself like a hawk and you want to get the most out of yourself. So, number one is setting that great expectation that they were hired because they're coachable, they're high achievers, they want the data, they want to know where they are performing and not performing, and they want to have access to all the resources available to accelerate their performance from the word go. So, number one is great expectation setting. Number two, you got to provide them with the data. So, proactively deliver them stats on how they're performing versus the team. And that can be activity performance, conversion performance, revenue performance. Our world in triple session deals with call scoring and quality analysis from one call to the next. You have to feed them all of that data to empower them to know exactly where they stand, where their opportunities to accelerate, and where can they feel confident that they're getting the job done, and proactively deliver that, not reactively only when something goes wrong. And then the third piece is the pull conversation. And this is where a lot of early coaches and junior coaches will go wrong. They'll take all of that data and they'll answer the questions for the rep in terms of how they're doing, where they need to go, what they need to focus on. What we strongly recommend is pulling that information from reps. So instead of delivering it, coming back to that core initial foundation of what you set for an expectation and running with it, with the message being, okay, We hired you because you're accountable. We know you're running your own business. You've got all the data, resources, know exactly where you stand. How are things going? Tell me how you're reading your data. Where do you see your performance strong? Where do you see the opportunities to improve? What is your action plan to solve? And how can I help? So, really being there more to guide, encourage, share your experience, fill in the gaps when the reps need that help, but really start with empowering them and letting them run their own business, providing them the tools, providing them the resources, providing them the data, providing them all of the great training and coaching that you need to close the skill gaps, and then letting them run their own business. And when you do that and you hire effectively, best in class salespeople will rise to the challenge, and they'll be harder on themselves and actually micromanage their own performance more than any coach ever would. And that's exactly what we want, right? We want certain people who come in and really take the ball and run with it and really want to look at their own data, their own performance, scrutinize how they're doing, and know exactly how they can get better, and then measure that follow on performance later. So, key takeaways here. Number one, set expectations, great expectations from the word go, that you have an entrepreneur that you've hired, not another cog in your sales machine. Number two, empower them with all of the data, training, coaching resources they need. Number three, give them the opportunity to interpret that data and make the calls on their own performance as to where they see they need to go with it. And number four, check out build.org. They're doing some great work. Get involved. They could always use more help. Until next time.